Before that time.
That's the physics behind, for example,
Another question
the actual change.
the ultimate question about
Over the course of the 7 years in which the book was put together.
Welcome to the Scholars Chair. It was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who wrote, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education." As our nation is addressing the need for quality education and reform, we here at the Scholars Chair would like to make you aware of an innovative program being organized at Howard University by our guest, Dr. Kethurah Williams. She is a liaison to the Howard University academic community and Howard University Middle School of Mathematics and Science. She is deeply engaged in the educational reform movement. In a moment, our conversation with Dr. Williams about what she is doing to improve student academic performance. She is right here in the Scholars Chair.
Let the conditions of inequality that we suffered under, when we are the oppressor, the dominant class, let's not impose that injustice on the others.
Anybody think that you could have a just system without giving women their rights?
Everyone has an opinion, and we sit around the marketplace and talk about opinion, but what is truth?
With the shareholder, their goal is similar to the business, to maximize profit.
That belief becomes a context for a development of knowledge.
Say physics is the DNA of technology because the rules for how you build new technology starts in physics.
Because Quran challenges the people. It's not only the people of the book, it challenges Muslims.
We say secular, they hear godless.
Right.
What was intended?
Watch the Scholars Chair every Monday night. And here is your host. Dr. Williams, welcome to the Scholars Chair. We are so proud to have you here. Tell me, what is your PhD in?
Well, my PhD is actually in cell and development and molecular biology. I did my master's before, and that was in cell biology. And my area of research was actually working with a particular type of worm called the Kethurah Williams. And that's a worm that we were looking at the sperm factor and trying to cause fertilization to increase in nematodes and then move on to human beings.
Wow, did you get it published?
Yes, I did.
Where did you get your PhD from?
My PhD, I got it from Howard University in Washington, D.C.
You know, we are here to talk about quality education and reform, and I know you're deeply involved with that at Howard University. I want to just talk about the program that you're helped organizing there. And it's my understanding that the Howard University Middle School of Mathematics and Science is established to address performance issues for the students, reading comprehension, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, tell me, why did the school and go through so much to produce such a program?
Well, one thing that we need to be aware of is that in this country and many other places, a lot of the students, the population that we serve, we have this achievement gap. And one of the things that Howard University was trying to do was to decrease that achievement gap so that we would be able to reach students where they are and take them where they need to be and beyond. So that's actually one of the overview of the mission of the Howard University Middle School of Mathematics and Science. And it started in the year 2000, August 2005. And that actually was a vision that came from one of the founder of Howard University. And he actually, Dr. Mine is his name, he was the one that spearheaded the program or putting that program into the overall view of the Howard University Middle School of Mathematics into being. Because what he found out was that if we were allowed to go the way that we are going, a lot of students, we would lose a lot of students. And what we said we should do is that we should allow the students to have that exposure. And what better way to have that exposure than to, in one of the major areas that we had a major concern was with the STEM, which was science, technology, engineering, and math. So when this school came to fruition, it was basically to allow students, mainly minority students, to be able to have that that opportunity. And with that opportunity, we said, okay, we don't want them to just learn to get the education that they need, but to get an exposure to careers, to what they probably would never dream they would be able to have the ability to do. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they decided to have the particular school on the campus rather than have it somewhere else.
Yes, yes. So you're inviting to the campus elementary and high schools?
It is actually middle school. So middle school, that's really the ages. It starts from 10 years, it goes all the way up to 14.
The grades, I guess, what,
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Okay, 6, 7, 8.
Yes, that's typically the age range, the middle school years in the DC area. And so this is a critical time for students. And this is where you could either make or break them. So this is something that they also looked at. They could have gone to the elementary, which is crucial too, but this is the age where students are curious. Their quest for knowledge is at this peak, highest peak, and so they said, okay, let's target the middle school age. So this is where they're still coming out of their shell, and that's the time when they could actually nurture those students. So that's one of the reasons why
you're dealing with the fundamentals and basics, and once they get the reading done and get the mathematics done and have a comprehensive understanding of critical thinking and science, and they can go anywhere they want.
Go anywhere they want.
It's a great program, and I'm glad to see that places like Howard University are engaging the problem, because I think it's been with us for a little while, but Howard's been on this for many years.
For many years, yes.
Because you just finished your PhD there.
In 2005. That's 2005. The year I was actually defending my dissertation when they started applications for the school. And so I was asked to come to apply, and then when I got the position, they asked me if I could basically set up the science department. So I came in there and I had to do everything from scratch and build it to where it is.
So a new scholar, new department.
Yes.
This is great. Listen, the wonderful thing about Howard is they have always been innovative, and I was curious from you, in addressing K through 12 students academically, how do you help them perform at the higher level? How do you help them to perform in areas of science, for example? Do you have any examples of that?
Yes. So one of the programs that I started once we realized the students that we were dealing with, we realized that reading was really essential. Students were coming in there at all levels, and we were trying to, as you said, reach them, take them from where they are. So one of the crucial pieces was, since it's a math and science school, science should be one of the major focus for the school. And so what I started to do for the school is to work with all the science departments on campus. So that included the dental school, medical school, pharmacy, allied health sciences, the computer science departments, engineering departments. So all those departments I worked with in terms of the science piece. And then we have the chemistry, the natural sciences, chemistry, biology, physics. So all those departments, I met with the deans. So that was my first approach, and I told them the needs of the students. And I told them that I would like to create a pipeline, so that when these middle school students have graduated from the middle school, even though we don't unfortunately have a high school, wherever they go, they would want to come right back there. So what we decided to do, they asked me for advice in terms of what type of programs I believe that they would benefit from. And I told them, I gave them ideas of programs that we could do, probably programs where they're able to hear presenters speak, programs where there are activities taking place, where they're doing a lot of hands-on. So because the students at that age, as another critical piece, is that they're impressionable, they're very kinesthetic, they love hands-on. to keep them engaged. So once you get them there, they're excited. And so they want to just explode and do whatever. They don't even care what level it is. They just, because they're excited, you can get them to do nanotechnology, and they're not even aware that this is something
It's
that
hard,
you do at the
right?
college level, because they're excited about it and it's brought to their level.
I love it.
So that's one of the programs that we brought in were the activities, presenters. I had presenters come in, deans, professors. I had to actually come and I was asked to come and talk to the faculty members of the various schools so that I could talk to them and let them know so that they can, decide on their own how they felt that they could be of assistance. One thing I had to tell them was that if they had to be helpful to the students, if as a professor, you would think that you could talk at a certain level, but they have to make sure that you don't, have them, keep them focused. And to do that, of course, you can lecture, but you had to make sure that it was engaging. So a lot of professors had to go back. They told me they had to go back into their books and their education background to see how they can make it engaging. And sometimes they will call me and say, Dr. Williams, I don't know what to do here. What should I do to make this more engaging? So a lot of times, we would work together, put the program together, then they will either come to this middle school, and we had set times for them to meet either as a whole grade or by classrooms. So we had small groups as well, or they will come over to that particular department, and they would do activities. And what I did is, of course, everything is based on data.
Yes.
So what I did is I would do pre-surveys with the students, find out what their interests are, and then sometimes, depending on what they were interested in, I will say, okay, those of you interested in the chemistry, they will go to the chemistry department. They will do experiments, labs with the professors, and crucial piece, the students at the university level. That is something that I said had to happen. I did not want to just work with the professors and deans. I wanted to work also with the students, the graduate students and undergrad. Why is that important? That's very important because these students, as you said, are very impressionable, but they also look up to people to be role models. A lot of them,
So a young person to a
young person to a young person, so they love it. And because they actually wanted to impress these older, so they looked up to them as older brothers, older sisters. They wanted to impress them. So they actually would go out of their way to do what was necessary to keep that connection with those brothers and sisters, as you call them. And so they will come, and what made them connect to was while they were talking to them about the labs and the experiments, they will also give them a little bit about themselves, what they went through, how they got to this point. And so all they would be asking is, oh wow, you're trying to be a chemist, you're trying to be a biologist, maybe I could be that too. And so that helped, because even though a professor could talk to them, there's a big age, there's an age difference, a large age difference, but the students really got to them. So now I brought in another program where I had graduate students and undergrad students working one-on-one with students, helping them with their reading and their science. So because of that, a lot of them now are interested in the sciences. So that's, and that's the whole point, to get them interested to the point that they want to be like their brothers or sisters, or like the professors that they worked with.
They're seeing.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you, that is a wonderful narrative, because in fact, I got excited about it just listening to you about it. Tell me about how do you make algebra interesting? I mean, how do you keep a 6-year-old involved with, not a 6-year-old, but a sixth grader, focus in on?
It's a little difficult with math, but what we created was what we call math labs. So even though science, math, they're all separate disciplines, they're all connected. What you do, and that's something that's big in the middle school, is cross-curriculum. So even though you're focusing on something in math, you could connect the science to it. You could connect the engineering, make it applicable. That's what the students in this generation, that's what they need to get the experience and need to see where it connects. So you talking to them about algebra, they probably wouldn't get it. But if you relate it to something that's going on right now in their community or what's going on in the news right now, they get it. And so they say, oh, so this is why this is happening. So case example, I taught metric system. A lot of times people don't do that until they get into college.
That's very true, yes.
So some of the students say, why are we being taught this now? My mom is doing this in college right now. Yes, but metric is a part of your life. They didn't get it. So I said, okay, what are you wearing right now? And they talked about their uniform, etc. I said, the shoes, what's the size of your shoes? Oh, it's a size 11. I said, no, that's not what I asked. What's the size of your shoes? I don't know what you're talking about. So they had to take their shoe off. I gave them a ruler. I said, what's the size of your shoes?
Yes.
They had to tell me in centimeters, then they had to convert it into millimeters and convert it into decimeters. Oh, I didn't know.
Let's get a calculator here.
Yeah, but no calculator.
Oh,
They're
no
doing
calculator. Oh, my
no
goodness.
calculator. They
Real
had to
hard.
show it.
Yeah.
They had to show everything, and they appreciated it. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I always thought that when you talk about size, it just has to do with a size of a shoe, 11 or 10. No, there are actual units."
Yes.
That are used here. And these units are going to be very important for you when you become a chemist or a biologist, because if you make one mistake in mixing a chemical, you could blow up a building, you can cause somebody to die. It's that serious. And they got it.
Pharmacy and all
Pharmacy, all these departments. So they realize, oh, so and that's math.
Yes.
So I said, you're teaching us math and science? Yes, because math is a part of science. So the way to get students interested in the math is to connect it and make it applicable. Then they get it. Then they want to measure everything, because after that they were trying to measure the height of from the floor to the ceiling. They were trying to do everything in the room. And so we got to do area and circumference and everything. And all the time they were bored.
Your background was science, and you seem to be a good educator as well.
Well, I have my, even though I have my PhD, I have my leadership license in education.
I see.
And I actually did teacher courses. That's how I met Dean Fenwick, because I did some courses in the School of Education, and I was an adjunct faculty member with the School of Education. I taught science education for some graduate students at the School of Education. So I have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's working. I mean, I am feeling engaged, and I'm just asking questions. So tell me, we talked about science and we talked about math a little bit. Tell me, how do you handle the technology stuff? I mean, that's the wires and tubes and blinking lights.
Yes. Well, it's easier to work with the technology. I'll tell you why. Students are all about technology now. That's the age they're in. Everything is a tablet and an iPad and an Android, and so they know more than we do. So it's not even difficult. They will help me fix my laptop. If there's a problem. So the point of the school, it's a middle school, mathematics and science. But one of the major focuses was the technology. So we have everything in the building is wireless. We have laptops in every classroom. We have 20 laptops in carts in every classroom. The students come in, get a laptop to take home. And they keep it for the 3 years. And then at the end of those 3, they graduate from the school, they are allowed to keep it. So they are able, there's no excuse in terms of the technology. We have a lot of online softwares that we use to help with the differentiation within the classroom. So the technology is a part of everything that we do. The teachers are trained on the technology when they come in. And then in terms of connecting Howard, because of the technology in the building, when we go out to try to connect to the university, it's easy to do because we could have Skype interviews with the students. We can have them come over and work with the technology over the summer. I worked with the Dean of Engineering, and we had an engineering program for 2 weeks. 6th grade students, 7th grade students. This is a course that is done by undergrad and graduate engineering students. And they produced, it's called a computer artificial design. We have these 3D printers, which is the newest technology now. You print literally the actual product. And they actually were able to design things that are for everyday life, things like fixing your shoe. What could you do to prevent you from tripping over a lace? What you use the cup for in the when you go in the plane, and you know how sometimes you have turbulence and the cup moves. What could you do to prevent that from happening? They came up with these creative ideas, and then they created the design with the help of the grad students in mechanical engineering, and they were able to produce a product. To the point now that one of the products, we can't talk about it because they're trying to patent it.
Why not? I mean, nobody's listening.
Yeah. So that's why it's, and all of that was because of the access to technology and the fact that they were able to make those connections very young, and because of the fact that they had that access in the building as well. So it was easy for them to comprehend, to be able to work with the computers, and then take it to another level and introduce other softwares. And so now the sky is the limit for them, and they're trying to continue this program.
That's interesting. You have gotten me excited. How does someone know more about the program? And tell me, how does that work?
Yeah, well, we are trying to publish a lot of these things that we are doing right now. I actually spoke with the School of Communication, and they're trying to get the websites up and have a lot of these things so that everybody will be able to see what's going on in the school. And but it's
you have to have a launching period later.
We have to, yes, but it's ongoing.
I appreciate that very much, because that is what we all do.
Yeah, it is.
I find that people that are younger than the age of 20, maybe even 60, have a little problem with reading comprehension. How do you diagnose it? How do you recognize it? And how do you do something about it?
So it's interesting you brought that up, because one of the major concerns we had when we started the school, and we did not realize it would be such a great issue. But the students, the population we serve, of course, we are public charter schools, so we cannot be selective. So we serve the whole northeast, southeast, southwest, etc. When the students came in, and we tested them, because that was one of the things that we have to do, that baseline testing. We realized that a lot of the students were coming in at different grade levels in terms of their reading ability. And if we have a math and science school where we're supposed to go beyond, and the terminology alone will blow your mind. If the reading skills are not there, then it will be very difficult for them to comprehend the information. So what we did when we realized what was happening, that also was an impediment for the students, because they felt that they could not do science because they couldn't understand it. They couldn't understand what was going on. It's a foreign language. They get excited, but then when it comes to the terminology and actually going through the theory, they stop. I don't know how to do this. And of course, you get a lot of pullback. They don't want to do anything. So the reading specialist at the school and myself, one of the programs that we put together was to take that baseline data and then try and find programs that will allow us to be able to work with those students either one-on-one or in small groups, because we realized we were more effective in smaller groups rather than trying to teach a whole class where you have different skill sets within the same classroom. By doing that, what I did is I went to the School of Communication, School of Education as well, and I asked for students who specialized in reading to come and assist again. And what we do now is that we measure them. So as we take it one skill at a time. So we know that maybe they have problems with main idea, being able to understand that. We go over that, we make sure they understand it. We test them to see if they got it. And we keep doing that, and we see growth. And now with that growth, we use the cross curriculum again, so they're not missing out while they're learning. So we use the cross curriculum. So we have a course right now called STEM literacy. So we take the science, blend it. So while they're being taught the skills, they're being taught the vocabulary at the same time in the reading class. So when they go to the science class, they already made that connection in the reading. And so, oh yes, I remember being taught this in the reading class today.
So it's
So it's reaffirming, it's reinforcing, they get it, and they keep moving on. So
tell me, how long has Howard been doing this?
Well, when we realized the problem, because it got worse, as you know, when we realized the problem, probably about 3-4 years now, and I have a very good relationship with the teachers, the faculty members in the middle school, so that helps me, because when I go to their meetings and I say, okay, what are the needs? They tell me, okay, well, we need this, we need one-on-one with this particular child, especially if they're in special education or whatever it is, and I'll say, okay, and I'll go out to the university and say, okay, these are the needs, we need this, and I'll tell them why. And what I do is that every time we have any program that assists the students, we do pre and post surveys, get the data out. Did the students like this? Did it help them? Were they excited about it? And once we realize that they're excited about it, then we realize it's something that's working. But one of the key pieces for this whole program, and people didn't realize it, is the parents.
Yes, I was going to ask you. Go right ahead. Make your point.
So the parents, what I did to get their buy-in, because a lot of parents, they would do whatever it takes anyway. But what we did is I addressed the president of the PTA, and I said, we need to have people from the university come and talk to the parents. Is that possible? She said, of course. And she, being a parent as well, she wanted it for her own child. So I went to the dean, spoke to them, and I said, is it possible for you to come spend a little time? It might be late because it's in the evening, and just talk to the parents, let them understand that you are supporting them as well. And they were gracious enough to do it. So I had every month on a schedule a different dean coming in, and all of them had a different perspective on what was real. They didn't come and put on a PowerPoint presentation and talk to them, talk down to them. They actually sat with them, talked about their life experiences growing up their children, and they talked about what was hard for them when they were going to school, how, you know, some of them came from single parent homes themselves, and what they had to go through. The parents were so excited. They said, oh my Lord, I am so honored that you are here talking to us. And I didn't realize the impact it would have had, to the point where now they're having parent support groups that came out from this. They're working on helping the parents too, because a lot of them, they feel inadequate to help their own children, because some of them, their education levels, they only got to a certain point. So they feel that they wouldn't be able to help. But I said, yes, you can.
Just teach what you know.
And what I've realized too is I said, work with your child. So now we have parents coming in, being taught the technology with the child at the same time. And they love it. They don't feel that it's a problem. They're working with their child. They're getting to understand how to help them with their work. So now the child feels supported by both the parent, as well as the faculty, as well as the university. So it's like a circle.
I love it. You not only got me excited about the program, now I want to go teach. That is fantastic program. And you've been organizing it, and you're just about ready to launch it, right? I mean, essentially.
Well, some of the areas we are already doing, but you know, like all the things with the deans, we are. This is like phase 2 right now in certain areas, but there are certain areas that are now being launched. So like the graduate students, I was asked to do a proposal for grad students because they have that flexible time more than the undergrads, and so now they're coming in to work one-on-one with students to tutor and mentor them.
You're nailing it down. Dear sister, you have made the Scholars Chair. And I can tell you that the information that you shared, it would be meaningful to young people and meaningful to parents. And I'm glad to see that Howard is engaged in addressing education reform. Well, I can tell you that that's another Scholars Chair, and Dr. Williams, thanks for coming by and being with us. We've been talking to Dr. Williams from Howard University about student academic success. If you wish to see more of Scholars Chair program, you can go online to Read One Communications YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Khalil Shadid. You can write us an email at scholarschair@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Khalil Shadid. Good night.
Hit it! Hit it! Hit it! amazing.